Good morning, Griffin Scopers. Sunday morning, lovely to see you and have your company here in the sound booth. How's everyone doing in the tribe? It's been quite a busy week this end with family and stuff, so hence I haven't managed to get many videos out. So I'm chomping at the bit to get this one out. So one of the things that I really love about this new channel is rather than purely focus on the royals, I get to explore all different kinds of people living, some having crossed over, beautiful minds, and today is no exception. So we are covering Albert Einstein today. Guys, if that's something that interests you, please do like and subscribe to the channel. If anybody wants a private reading with me, please do get in touch. My email address is in the description box. So we are looking at the energies that are swirling around Einstein's life from birth through till death. They do not change, these energies, and we're getting into the very heart and soul of this person, not any superficial gossip, but right into what made him the human being he was. So let's have a look at the cards that he's got. And Einstein is actually the moon as part of his character card makeup, and the moon is all to do with the space of mystery, imagination, illusion, and the dream world. And Einstein's theory of relativity, and I don't profess to understand all of his theories or physics or science, but the idea of relativity came to him from a dream, and the moon's energies represent the space where logic dissolves and imagination takes over. Great imaginative minds, artists, poets, writers, all come from the moon energies. And this is exactly where Einstein lived, in that space between fact and dream. And though he was celebrated as a man of science, Einstein trusted his visions. It's how he learned, and his daydreams, and he trusted his subconscious much more than rigid structures of thinking. So like the moon itself, he revealed that reality actually bends, it distorts. And he wasn't just a scientist, he proved that imagination actually bends the universe just as much as mathematics ever did or could, and that infinite spiral of the universe isn't just found in logic alone. So the moon card is about illusions and sometimes madness. He did look a little bit mad, didn't he, with his wild and woolly hair, and he wouldn't wear socks ever. But genius isn't clean, it can be chaotic as well. And his refusal to obey rules, he was constantly challenging established scientific authorities, their ideas, their norms, and he operated on the edge of accepted reality and trusted imagination over convention. So note how we get that curious crow there on the branch looking at the great big moon, and he was constantly observing, questioning, calculating, experimenting, and each time he visualized riding on a beam of light or imagined the curvature of space-time, he was that big crow in the moon there, and he was integrating countless kind of small observations into grand cosmic vision. So the big crow shows his bold, fearless imagination, his big groundbreaking theories. And with the caged bird here, this speaks to how his mind was just brimming with vision, but society initially tried to confine a lot of his theories and ideas. The crow in the cage kind of reflects that part that knew there was more to see in the world and to understand, yet he had to carefully navigate the world before his insights could actually take flight, because even the most brilliant minds can get constrained before the cage doors kind of open, and theories and insights can soar and be taken on by the world, and the genius can actually take flight. So riding moonlight was much how he imagined chasing beams of light to develop relativity. Like the hermit, Einstein often walked his path alone. Not always in the physical sense, because he did love to take long physical walks with his pipe, but intellectually. So the life lesson of the hermit teaches that wisdom comes from introspection and solitude and following your inner light. So Einstein thrived in this kind of environment, and his lantern was his imagination, illuminating, lighting up that mind to hidden truths. Einstein was a hermit in a world that really couldn't keep up. Like I said, he would take long walks alone, spend hours and hours reflecting. It was a life lived often apart from societal expectations, but these were conditions that were necessary for his genius to thrive and flourish. So a lot is placed on the struggles of cognitively challenged students and people generally, and maybe less so actually on the struggles of savant students to fit in with societal norms. Because of his intellectual abilities, unconventional behaviour, he wasn't socially or intellectually typical. Thus, he struggled to fit in, especially at school, suffered social isolation. He didn't make friends easily. I mean, you can imagine having somebody like that in the class. For goodness sake, put your hand down, let someone else have a go. Or, you know, the teacher's ego being threatened or challenged by his ideas. So that early experience of isolation may have contributed to his hermit-like qualities, especially later in life. When we look at all the nines in the tarot, because obviously the hermit governs the number 9, so Einstein will relate to all the nines. We'll start with the 9 of Wands. So this is a card of resilience and defense. Notice how we get those 2 feathers there in the bottom right hand corner. And this speaks to the early struggles and battles with every teacher, every academic position that he would have fought for but was denied. And each lost feather became like a stepping stone or a scar or a life lesson, but proof of his endurance and silent markers of a mind's refusal to surrender, and the persistence as well in the face of doubt. You know, his theories like relativity were initially met with skepticism by others, but he held his ground and he did not back down. So kudos to him for that. So yeah, very 9 of Wands energy. 9 of Swords. So while he is remembered for his brilliance and his light, Einstein's inner world carried deep anxieties that resonate with greatly, I think, with the 9 of Swords. So he had fears about the consequences of his work. So after things like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Einstein lived with the heavy knowledge that his theories helped pave the way for nuclear weapons. He later said that if he had known they were going to do this with his work, he would have become a watchmaker instead. So private letters did actually reveal his guilt and unease and worry about the fate of humanity. And, you know, this card would be like Einstein up at midnight, anxious, a blank chalk slate kind of thing. But yeah, there were letters there that revealed that he was uncertain about how, you know, things were going to develop with his theories. Also with his marriage, actually, to his wife, that was also fraught with difficulty and emotional distance. And that coupled as well with his relationship with his children, which was also very strained. And note we also get a cage up here, look, as well. So you can see that those calculations tormented his thoughts of what his discoveries might unleash, and the human capacity as well for destruction. With this is a slightly lighter one, so the Nine of Cups, this would be a chapter interesting actually when paired with the Nine of Swords. The Nine of, you know, this is like a complete juxtaposition. So the Nine of Cups would be these cards really do show the paradox of his life, you know, immense public honor, fulfillment of wishes, alongside those private anxieties that kept him up at night. So Nine of Cups symbolizes prestige, acknowledgement. He actually received the Nobel Prize in physics in 1921. And the cups reflect his accolades and the respect that he got from his peers as well as the world. So despite his fame, Einstein valued simple pleasures. He played the violin, loved sailing, going on his constitutional walks with his pipe. And this also aligns with the Nine of Cups. So just, you know, a message of personal joy that he was able to receive. So lastly, we've got the Nine of Pentacles, and this would be Einstein, I would say, in his later years, a later chapter in his life, surrounded by the fruits of his labour, being independent. His independence came about only because he had trained that beautiful mind so rigorously and with such discipline and responsibility. And so each of the nines show different chapters in his life. So the resilience in the Nine of Wands there, while people doubted him, his refusal to back down. The Nine of Swords, the inner anxiety and worry and regret at times as well of what he was unleashing with his knowledge. The fulfillment of his dreams, the recognition and the joy in his life. And then the independence, the harvest and simplicity. So with his soul cards, we get the Lovers and the Devil. And the Lovers is a card of choice and the union of opposites. And Einstein's genius actually lay in the uniting of paradoxes, you know, matter energy equals E equals mc squared. Time, space, he united as space-time. So the lovers reflects the synthesis in all of those concepts. And the lovers teaches him the importance of choice as well, that every decision, whether in science or personal life, creates consequences. And his life lesson, as he came to learn, was that of aligning moral values, heart choices and actions within his intellectual achievements. That was crucial. So in the Devil card, we get themes of obsession, ego, fear, and enslavement, and also the misuse of power. And his life lesson was to see beyond the illusion of all those things. And Einstein's theories actually opened the door to the atomic bomb, a very haunting devil energy. And though he didn't build it, he carried the burden of knowing his work could be twisted into destruction. And this is the devil's lesson. The shadow side of genius is responsibility for how others can misuse his gifts. And he was so absorbed in his work, emotionally distant, and it points to how obsession with his intellectual pursuits kept him quite chained at times and bound to his work, unable to fully connect with others emotionally, because the Lovers is all about learning about different kinds of relationships as well. But his was a life of self-imposed solitude mostly, despite the fact that he did marry. He was still at a distance from his wife emotionally. So that inability as well, you know, his obsession with his work meant that he wasn't able to fully connect with others. And Einstein's life, when you look at these two cards, is a dance between these two energies, making conscious choices in the Lovers, the unification of opposites, which he sought to harmonize where others saw separation, and how the devil shows obsession, even though the work was noble, it was still a form of bondage. So in the unification of the Lovers, he gave humanity light. He gave humanity nuclear energy. And the shadow is that he also gave nuclear weapons. So Einstein came here to learn that brilliance must be coupled with responsibility. Yes, to align with wonder, truth, one's dreams, but that it needs to be coupled with, you know, the wisdom of responsibility, and to align with all of that, but understanding that, you know, while wrestling with the weight of all that, of what humans do with the knowledge that he's discovered. So his soul's work was to live kind of like in that tension, I would say. And notice as well, just notice that, get right into the camera, we've got a shield here, just half a shield behind a tree. And that speaks, I feel, to his need for him to kind of guard the knowledge, against the shadows of misuse, so that his genius could actually serve creation rather than destruction. Very interesting cards. Who'd have thought he'd have been the moon card, but it seems quite apt. Okay, let's get into a oracle card. So show us the energy, please. Albert Einstein. Is there anything that we can learn? Anything? Oh, gosh. Genius is chaotic. Right, I'm just going to take 3. I would never take more than 3 oracle cards because it gets a little bit messy otherwise. So yeah, this would show the battle in the 9 of Swords that he had about unleashing the knowledge. Battle, but also battling with his teachers, trying to make people, you know, understand. Insight. Well, the moon also gives us insight. And survival. And that's exactly what I was saying about the 9 of Wands. A card of endurance. A card where he refused to back down. Excellent. Okay, I might just take a couple of pendulum readings. One of the things, guys, I've wanted to know, because it's been said a couple of times, but I'm not sure about this. It's said that he was dyslexic because of the way he learned. He didn't like school because he didn't like learning by rote. Let's just ask that question. So it's right for a yes, left for a no, up and down for a maybe, stop for a block. Okay, was Einstein actually dyslexic? Yes or no? Or did he have tendencies? Oh my goodness. Yes. So Einstein actually fully believed in life after death, and I want to know if any of those theories that he came up with about life after death, are they actually true? Are the theories that Einstein postulated about life after death true? And we get a yes for that. Oh my gosh. Brilliant, brilliant. Love that. Okay, let's get a couple of charms just to finish off. Oh, that's interesting. One's actually jumped out. Let's get that. The icicle jumped out. So they're very unique, aren't they, snowflakes? Just like Einstein himself. Life is very fleeting. We're not here for long. But my goodness, did his brain and all those theories last over time? Decades. Still relevant. Oh, that red bead there. That reminds me of the blood, sweat and tears that he put in to his work. We've got the yin and the yang symbol there. And that speaks to me to kind of what I was talking about in these 2 cards, and the choices, the responsibility between, you know, unleashing knowledge, what humanity does with it can be good or bad. and we've got a sun and a moon. And for me, I guess those are about his understanding of the cosmos, how it all worked, bending time, or how time doesn't exist. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Make of that what you will. Drop your comments in the box below, guys. If anyone wants a private reading with me, please do get in touch. If there's anybody you want me to cover, then do let me know in the comments. Okay, guys, I will see you on the next. You fly well. Have a brilliant day. Bye for now.